one of the most important things that I learned while I was learning about intermittent fasting was to realize that we don't need food as often as we think we do. And the best thing that helped me learn this was to slowly give up sugars and carbs. And in doing that, I then didn't crave the sugar and carbs so much, which allowed me to skip a meal or push the meal time longer and longer. In the past, I ate a lot. I probably snacked every hour sometimes, especially since I was working from home for the last 7 years. And I was just so in the habit of snacking, getting up. I realized I just needed a break, needed to get up, stretch my legs, and I would go right to the kitchen and I would snack. And that really did impact the fact that I kept gaining and gaining weight over around a 6-year time frame. And I got into the obese category. And I was over 210 pounds and I kept having more and more health issues. And I was just so used to eating the 3 meals a day plus snacking. And in the past, the diets I've been on, many of the diets would say eat 5 meals a day, eat 5 small meals a day. That was definitely one that was touted a lot. And to realize I didn't need that was like going against what I'd been told and what I'd thought was, the truth or what was proper. And when I then learned about intermittent fasting, Dr. Jason Fung, Dr. Ken Berry, and Dr. Robert Siways were 3 key people that I learned the most from. And at the beginning, and then there's lots of other doctors like Dr. Mark Hyman, and they talk a lot about, intermittent fasting and the benefits of that. And to understand that I was actually doing something that wasn't helping me. Eat 5 meals a day was actually not helping me. It was actually hindering me from losing weight. And I didn't need to keep feeding myself and, having a little bit of time in between. And then I got to keep feeding myself and giving the energy. It does make sense if you are living on carbs, you need to feed yourself a lot more often if you're living on sugars because it goes up and down. Whereas if you're fat burning and you're living on ketones, etc., then you can go a longer point of time. And this has just been really amazing to me. Every single day in the last 1.5 or 2 years, I'm still amazed that I'm not hungry. If I keep my carb level low enough, under around 50 grams of carbs, I don't count carbs on the whole a lot because I have been doing it for so long, and I learned it at the beginning, and then I just know what I need to eat, and I know the types of food, and I never measure anything anymore. And because my carbs are under around 50 grams of carbs a day, I think, I don't get hungry. It still just blows my mind. I don't get hungry. I don't have these hunger pains anymore. Now, if I do have more carbs, I will notice that I will get hungry after 4 or 5 hours. And that was so common in the past. I used to think of myself as, I'm going to do this challenge and I'm going to push through and, I'm going to feel hungry and then I'm going to push through and see if I can push it a little bit longer. But then I just had that feeling, that gut feeling of feeling hungry, and I would eat. And I would want to eat and I would be craving food to eat. And now because my carb level is so low, I don't crave food. I'm not hungry. It makes intermittent fasting so much easier because I'm not hungry. And if I'm not hungry, then I'm not going to want to eat. Like, it's really understanding my body better and really being able to eat the foods that fuel my body instead of just to feed my emotional need to snack or what I thought was the proper way to eat, which is 3 or 5 or 10 meals a day. So it really is a key thing to understand that the intermittent fasting combined with the low carb really works the best. I don't know how I could do this intermittent fasting if I was still eating the high carb meals, 200 or 300 carbs a day, which is average. If you actually look at somebody's plate that eats based on the typical food pyramid here up in Canada where I live, the typical food pyramid, which has grains as the most the most foundational part of the diet. If you actually eat what they recommend, your carb content is around 200 or 300 carbs per day, which is so crazy. And it's crazy to go from that down to 50 or even 15 carbs or less a day, which is getting into the ketosis mode. To understand that if you're going to do the intermittent fasting and you're going to still keep eating whatever you want, it's probably going to be frustrating because your body is going to be in that sugar mode, and then you're going to start craving foods, and you're going to have a sugar low because you haven't eaten enough sugar, and your body's like wanting more food, wanting more energy, and it's logical. Your body is actually wanting food. So if you can keep the carbs low enough, you don't crave the food, you're not hungry, and I literally have to remind myself to eat. It's like what time is it? It's almost 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I haven't had anything since 7 yesterday. I'm just not hungry. I went for a walk. I'm doing these videos. I'm not hungry. I'm not physically feeling any hunger pain. I just feel like calm, and it's so amazing. And I'd never experienced this before. Never experienced this on any of the other fad diets or at any other point in time except in these last 2 years, where I'm understanding how impactful the carbs were and how crazy it was that I was so used to just being on this sugar roller coaster up and down all the time, day after month after year after decade. And now to not have that, it's freeing in terms of I'm not thinking about food. I literally remind myself, oh, I probably should eat, because otherwise, I got to get my electrolytes in. I'm, literally just having water. I need, I've got to eat. I got to survive. And I'm not needing to lose weight anymore. I reached my goal weight. I'm not needing to just continue to lessen the amount that I'm eating and expand the intermittent fasting window maybe. And so it's such a sense of calm. I love this feeling. It's really, really exciting to know that my body can actually feel calm, to not feel desperate to eat. So I do recommend looking into combining intermittent fasting with eating low carb, under 50 grams a day, if you can do it. Like I say, I do not count carbs and calories anymore. I counted calories a very little amount when I was losing this weight. In the past, I would count calories all the time, hated it. So I would quit. It wasn't sustainable. This time around, I did count carbs at the beginning and understood, that basically I can eat any fruits and vegetables and meat and dairy and nuts and eggs up to a maximum of 50 grams of carbs a day. And I wasn't craving it. That's the thing. I wasn't overeating. I wasn't going to just eat potatoes for a whole day. I did keep potatoes, sweet potatoes and white potatoes in my diet. I know a lot of people who are low carb don't do that. I did keep those in because I wanted it to be sustainable. I wanted to be able to eat a huge variety in those food groups because I was giving up grains. That is insane. I was a baker. I went to cooking college. My mom baked bread and sold it. I was a baker my whole life up until age 52 or 51. So I called myself a baker. I was a cake decorator. It was such a big part of my life. So giving up the grains, which is a whole food group, which is that bottom section of the food pyramid. It's radical. It's really radical in our society. And it was radical for me because of how much my identity was associated with baking and with grains. So anyways, combining the intermittent fasting and the low carb and how important I see those two things for me and how much that helped me lose the weight and maintain the weight loss, then I just recommend looking into that for yourself. If you're stalled, if maybe you've tried the intermittent fasting and you're stalled and you can't seem to lose the weight, or you do find yourself binge eating like I had been doing, you feel like you're starving and then, oh, I got to eat lots because it's like, I got to make up for it. And my body's like wanting all that nutrients because you're basically starving yourself because your body is a sugar burning machine at that point. And when you convert and become a fat burning machine, you don't crave the carbs, which makes intermittent fasting effortless. It literally feels effortless to skip breakfast. I'm not craving it. I don't want to eat right now. Like, I'll open the fridge sometimes. In the past, it's like, what can I snack on? I'll open the fridge and I'll look and I just don't feel like eating anything. It's before 1 or 2 in the afternoon and I'm not used to eating earlier in the day. So it's like, it's a habit to open the fridge. So I have changed my habits in that way. Anyways, so I recommend looking into the intermittent fasting plus the low carb. You can keep watching some of my videos where I explain more of my journey and what it's been like to lose weight and to maintain the weight loss, which is so revolutionary for me after 40 years of yo-yo dieting. To actually maintain the weight loss is amazing and I love it and I want to share it with everybody. I want everybody, if possible, to experience how freeing it is to not be a yo-yo dieter anymore. So if you like this video, like and subscribe and share it if you can. And I'm so excited to share more. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.